And welcome back to another episode of Age Like Wine podcast.
We're your hosts,
Matthew.
Peter.
And William.
So I made my infamous return from a whole month off of recording. So
Paid time off.
yeah,
Yeah.
pay time off. We make you
He's
mad
been-
royalty for
Yeah, we've been kind of breaking the bank with paying Peter here. It is not we're not in a financially good spot because of it, but I hope you're doing okay, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're
COVID-19's
back.
hit us like a truck. It's pretty hard out here.
I mean, even
But-
with the upcoming Spider Train merch, I don't know if we'll be able to offset the debt that we've currently accumulated.
Please make sure to check out the merch for sure.
Yeah.
Anywho's, I'm back, and Matt's back from not being here last episode. So the whole crew's
I
back
am.
after a whole month.
I never left.
I apologize for. Well, he's never left. He's been a good boy.
I feel
gone.
like I'm back home.
I was gone due to my laptop exploding, so I've got a new computer. Still figuring out a lot of stuff, so don't worry about it. And life came up, so just don't worry about it, guys. Anywho's, welcome back to Age Like Wine podcast, where we talk about older forms of art such as TV shows, movies, video games, things of that nature, where we see if they age well or not. Lately, we've been doing stuff that is pretty recent, and today we are reviewing Kim's Convenience Season 1. Now, if you don't know what Kim's Convenience is a Canadian TV show that basically just follows the adventures of this Korean Canadian family who owns this convenience store. It kind of explores different stereotypes and upbringings that Asian Americans and Asian American families experience throughout their life, and just follows those characters.
Like me.
So, yeah, like me and William, because we're both Asian American.
Yeah, and me.
Yeah, and Matt. Who is
Matt too.
He's American. He's the other half.
I am half of that.
Yeah, that's right. Half American?
Yeah, so when I was doing research, apparently the show's like really big in Canada. Like before it got into Netflix, like it was already big.
I honestly didn't know the show took place in Canada until like 5 episodes in. And then I'm like, wait, it's Canadian, who knew?
Right, it's pretty similar to America. So
We also
Yeah.
don't really make like a big mention that, oh, hey, we're in Canada. I don't think.
No, yeah, they don't.
Besides like
Yeah.
naming cities and stuff, but
yeah, I mean the money looks different too.
that's true.
Yeah, that confused me too.
So you just thought it was like currency they made just for the show.
Okay, this will sound bad. I thought it was like a Korean currency.
How does
Oh
that?
my god. Why would
How
they
does that
do
make
it?
sense?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Or are these Korean
No,
folks
you're
speaking in English, which is a problem with the show if we're gonna start
Okay,
out on a
before we
review.
get before we get to
alright,
issue
alright.
before we get to issues about the show, like I just wanted to ask everyone what their like before going into the show, right? Because like this show's been on like my radar for a while because I've seen it on Netflix, like just kind of scouring through sometimes, and it's a show I've always wanted to watch because like it explores like themes about like Asian Americans and stuff. So like my question is like, what are your like thoughts before going into the show? Like, what do you think the show is gonna be like
Wasting
before
my
watching
time.
it? Waste of your time. Okay.
Waste of your time. That is bold.
Just like everything
Um,
else that's not picked by me.
Nothing that's not seeing.
Yeah, aren't you doing Sing and then Pixels after that?
Pixels is a TBD. Sing for sure
the
is gonna
heck
be in
is
our 100th episode
Pixels?
special.
What is
Adam
this?
Sandler.
It's Adam Sandler video game movie.
Oh,
It's like
this
the
movie.
unsuccessful version of like that new Ryan Reynolds movie that's coming out, which might also not be successful. I'm not sure.
I don't think it will be. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Anywho, to get to your point, Peter, I didn't know anything about this show until about 3 days ago. I was like, hey, I need to watch what's next on the podcast. And it was this show. And I'm like, what is this? And going into it, I was like kind of I don't know how I felt about it, but sitcoms like that aren't normally my thing. So I was like, this is gonna be a bit of a grind to get through.
I felt that.
Admittedly.
Yeah.
So how long has it been on your radar though, Peter? Because I literally have never heard of this show.
Probably like 2 years now. It's been like 2.5 years now.
How old is this show, I should ask? I've done very little
2016.
background.
2016 is
Yeah,
when it first aired.
2016.
Now, before we get to that though, Matt, would you mind explaining yourself? What do you mean by shows like that? Now, did you mean like a sitcom, or do you mean the fact that the most of the main cast obviously is Asian?
It's really unimportant. We don't need to
Unimportant.
get
I mean,
into
I feel like it's important for this
shows
episode.
shows with that kind.
Oh, that
of
you're really not helping yourself out here.
no, that kind of plot line is
Oh, okay.
No, honestly, sitcoms
Yeah,
like
no,
Seinfeld, I couldn't get into.
I feel you.
And,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It just seems formulaic or whatever, and I kind of don't find it funny for the most part. And I mean, we'll get into what I thought of this show specifically, but I will say it doesn't fall into a lot of the sitcom tropes.
Maybe it's because it's Canadian.
All right, and we have lost our host. Oh,
What the
Okay,
heck?
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
what
he's
the
back.
heck was that? My Discord just like crashed for some reason.
He's
Can't-
back. Don't
we
worry,
can't
folks.
Yeah,
say
maybe
that-
because the
we
show's
can't say that
Canadian,
brand
like-
name. Sorry, we're not.
Yeah,
we're not
maybe the show's
officially
Canadian,
sponsored.
so like it doesn't. Yeah, maybe because the show's Canadian, it doesn't do what Americans do. Maybe I don't know. I have no idea.
That makes sense. I could see that. I don't know anything about like Canadian
Do you
television.
like Arrested Development?
I love Arrested Development.
That's a
Is that
Canadian sitcom.
Oh, really?
Boom! I've
Well, there we
solved.
go.
I've solved the issue
Well, there you go.
or the
Canadian.
conundrum. I mean, not issue. The
All
conundrum.
our Canadian listeners, I want to say you've got good television.
Yeah, all
Arrested
two of you.
Development is so solid. Oh, you betcha. You betcha you got good television.
To the one UK viewer that's listening, we'll probably do a UK show one day.
And to the 0 Armenian listeners, just know we know you exist someday.
We,
We'll get some of
we're,
them.
we're rooting for you.
Yeah.
That's
We're a global podcast right here, though primarily
We are.
in English. I mean, we do have translators though, in 2 languages.
Yeah, we do.
Spanish
We
and
do.
Korean.
Uh-huh.
Spanish done by yours truly, Matt, as well as
true.
Korean done by Peter.
Recuérdame.
And then maybe even if we get
Yeah, 안녕하세요.
oh, nice. That's better than half the pronunciation in the TV show already. Oh shit.
Oh,
We
wow.
gotta,
Okay.
like, gotta
I feel like we
flag
need to
this
get
show
into all
like
this.
Okay,
I'm
now that we
very
talked
curious
about our
about all
thoughts
this.
before, yeah, I guess we can just go into stuff we know about the show.
Okay.
So I guess we could start with the accents, I guess. If you want,
What's
if you
your
want to
take
make
on
a
that,
comment,
since
I have
Matt-
no
if you want to make a
clue.
comment about that, William.
Yeah, Matt. I mean, I want you to start out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Matt, no, I'm talking
Me?
about
You want me to say?
Yeah.
I thought the accents were fine. I feel like I'm stepping into a very dangerous
Right
territory.
answer.
No,
right answer.
yeah, I thought the accents were like pretty decent from like hearing Korean accents. I thought that they did well. If that's not like their actual accents, I think they do it decent.
No,
Yeah,
I-
so
I
cool
agree.
fact.
Yeah.
Everyone was like basically like born and raised in Canada. Like, yeah, so basically the dad speaks like he doesn't even speak a lick of Korean. The mom's not very good at Korean too. Like if you watch interviews of these people, like their Korean, it's like non-existent. Pretty like I guess that's why they don't speak that much Korean in the show, but like yeah.
They speak a little bit, and I think the parts they do in Korean is like, I think for the most part authentic sounding, but obviously it's not like a lot, and that's mostly due probably to like actors and / like the show obviously being for like a Canadian audience.
Yeah. If they wanted more Korean, I guess they would have put the show in Korean, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, Lost? Like if you ever seen Lost, Lost has like this Korean guy and like his flashback scenes, like everything's in Korean, so I mean it's possible,
Good
I
point.
would say.
Yes.
But I guess Lost is an American show, not a
I-
Canadian show. So.
Amazing point. Yes.
That's and Lost is also way too damn long for us to ever review on this. So.
Oh hell no. Absolutely not.
Polar bear.
Never.
What?
Huh?
The polar bear. Actually, if you haven't seen episode 2,
That's like season 1. I
Golden
even saw the
Compass?
polar bear.
the polar bear and Lost. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
comes out of
that's like
nowhere.
episode 3.
I did not know there was a polar bear. I thought they
Anyway,
were
what
on-
were you gonna say, Matt?
What's up?
What were you gonna say? You were gonna say something.
I wanted to say I was curious, like, so y'all are saying like the Korean sounded pretty authentic. Do you think that um, do you think they should have gotten like quote unquote like authentic Koreans to be playing these roles instead, or do you think they did a good job? I'm
I
curious.
wouldn't say they're like
I want to say
non-authentic Korean because
authentic Korean.
I mean I kind of relate to them in that like my Korean is probably as bad as theirs. So I mean I kind of feel offended at that statement personally. That
Yeah, this is why I was like, should I be
Uh,
on this episode? Because I
yeah.
knew I'd get
no,
some
it's
shit
fine.
for
I
it.
mean
I just thought
how
it was
dare
funny
you?
you said. I just thought it was funny you said authentic Korean.
I didn't know what other word to use, honestly.
Man, you're just like
This
you're just
episode's
like
gonna get me
Janet's
canceled.
friends in her first like cousins episode or whatever when they were questioning her. You know, have you ever been to Korea? And she's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
to be Korean. I'm Korean. How dare you, sir?
Right.
Thoughts on that? I actually don't think the accents are very good, in my opinion.
You talking about like
But
when they
maybe
speak
that's just
English?
yeah. But maybe that's
Yeah.
just because like our family's English is like a lot worse than theirs.
Well, I'd say like
Like I've
my
seen
mom
like
and dad's English is way better than theirs, like 100%. Especially my dad. Like
I can see I can see like immigrant like parents speaking like that because I've definitely seen like friends of mine's parents have like pretty good English, but like I don't know I don't really like the accents in the show. Like that's what like me and William were talking about. Like if
yeah.
they're gonna have accents the whole time, shouldn't they put more Korean in the show? Because like if they're gonna have accents already, might as well like speak in like their quote unquote native tongue, right? So like,
Yeah, yeah. I feel you. Wait,
but
so
like
I have a quick question real quick. Was the cousin like is she do we have any background information of whether or not she's like from Korea? Because I felt like her accent
uh,
was like genuine.
her Korean was pretty good too. So
Yeah, so like I don't know. I feel like her accent is probably the
I can
most
look her
genuine.
up.
Yeah,
Um,
I tried looking her up before and I couldn't really find much. It was just like an IMDb on like her role, but I'm not sure if she was like born and raised in Korea. But yeah, I will say I think if you're like a Korean, you know, American and you're watching this show, I think the accents at first can like throw you off, especially if they're kind of like um I think at first they're a bit like exaggerated. I think overall you kind of get used to it, so it's not as like like I guess exaggerated, offensive or whatever. But maybe that was just me just kind of like getting my ears tuned to it. But I'd say in depicting like traditional like immigrant Korean people, it varies a lot. So it's really kind of like hard to really place of whether or not this accent like to me now is like if it's really good, if it's like really bad and exaggerated. Like I've kind of like lost that ability to like decipher that. Any information on the cousin?
nope. I can't find any information. So
What do you
I'm
have to say?
assuming either she's from Korea, but then she moved to Canada after living in Korea for like a few years,
Hmm.
or maybe like there are Korean Americans whose Korean is like really good, so that
Yeah,
could
true.
definitely be a possibility too.
Yeah.
So I think she's definitely fluent in English, so it's one of the two cases in my opinion.
Is she fluent in English? I've never heard her talk in English.
I mean, she has bits where she talks in English, so
That's true,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I don't know. The other two people
I
like
mean,
there's
I feel
information
like
on, but
the English she has in this show is like something I can do if I tried, like if I
yeah,
tried to like do an accent.
yeah, I feel that.
But yeah, I mean, I think I don't really mind the accents being like the way they are, right? Because I think like that's the point of the show, right? It's supposed to like depict a family like that, and I would like assume like a majority of people don't really know much about like accents and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It's true.
So it's not a big deal to me, but it's just something I've noticed.
I think the part where people could find offense on actions if like the butt of the joke is the accent, though I will give this show credit. Usually the joke isn't like, oh hey, this guy talks funny. It's usually like something else, you know? And I think that's what this show, especially like my I don't know, like expectations like coming in before, I thought maybe it would be I don't know, like with this like Canadian dude who's raised in Canada, maybe butt of the joke is just the fact that he talks funny. But it's kind of like they don't really do that. I feel. I don't know.
I agree. I feel like there were really no jokes about that, where everybody just kind of talked the way they talked, and that was it.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated a lot because it feels those jokes are super kind of ground level, you know?
Yeah.
Those are really easy to make and kind of not even like problematic, just kind of lame, just kind
Yeah.
of boring.
Plus, like the
So,
kids, I feel like the daughter and like the son, I feel like they're like represented pretty well. So even if you have like an issue of like, oh, the dad and the mom having accents, it's like okay, you got these two Canadian raised kids who are like they just show like the typical like Asian American or whatever, right? Like it's got two dynamics showing. It's not trying to portray, oh, this is how all these kids are, like they all got accents, or like any Korean citizen. It's like no, you got two kids who are like they're raised, they know English perfectly well, kind of like me and Peter. So yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, if your parents speak that good of English, then honestly you don't really need to know Korean. So
Yeah.
makes sense. But enough about the accents. I feel like we talked about the accents longer than I thought we were going
I think
to.
it's an important topic to talk about, especially for like
It is.
people who are like hesitant about this, because it's like Asian sitcom. Are they gonna pull off like a fresh off the boat where it's like perfect English, or do you think they might, you know, focus on the accents more?
Yeah, Randall Park's probably like the whitest like Asian guy
I don't know.
on
I'd
TV or
I'd
something.
say John Cho is definitely the widest in terms of like movies, because he's very like I was looking at background information before I was watching the show, but he's an actor that never accepts like a role where he has to play like an immigrant, like Asian person. He's just like, I don't like that image.
Yeah, I heard that. I was gonna say
So
Steven Yeun too, but then he's in that new movie, so
that's true.
Another thing I wanted to mention was that the show's actually rated like TV mature, which
Yeah.
I don't understand why, because there's
because
like
of the butts in that one episode.
there's maybe like
Joe,
they drop a
Yeah.
F bomb maybe like every now and then.
do they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did.
I haven't noticed it personally. Wait, when did they do it?
like I said, it's so scarce that like
Yeah, there was one like I'm pretty sure the daughter has said it. Like I don't think the parents have said it. Um,
Yeah, they haven't even said it in like Korean.
Janet said fuck one time in regards to her mom, I think.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like episode 3.
Oh, okay.
yeah, like it happens so scarcely and like nothing really explicit happens in the show either. Like sure characters have like
He
one night
fucked.
stands and stuff like that, but like
Yeah.
it's not like they show like them even making out on camera. Like they're barely even kissing on camera.
Yeah,
Like
there's like very little kissing even. It is kind of strange that they did that. Like I feel like they're cutting off a huge portion of their audience by
yeah,
having that or
they
whatever,
also
which is
show. I mean, like they have like a lot of mature themes in there, but like it's not like the
not
way they
graphic.
yeah the way they like portray it is not like there's an interaction between like the father and the son where like the father kicked out the son essentially, and like you kind of assume like some bad stuff happened, like maybe the father beat him up or something. But it's not like there's like a flashback to that or anything, right? It's like
Exactly. There's not really any like graphic things that happen in the show. Like the most, I'd say like one of the more serious things that happened was like, obviously we're gonna be talking about spoilers, but like there was like a robbery scene, and I thought maybe that scene, you know, would go into like that TV mature territory, but like nothing ever happened of that scene. Like it was like the most light-hearted it could possibly be. So I'm honestly confused by the whole TV mature rating as well.
I I don't I don't get it either.
Maybe they do
But
different. They do things differently in Canada. I'm not sure.
yeah, maybe mature is like 14 older or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's about like immigrant families or something. That maybe that's a mature topic.
I guess the implied idea of like, domestic assault is a bit heavy and like a bit of a darker concept. So I guess that could like they don't really show it. The worst is like a flick,
Yeah.
but you know, um I kind of I guess that's where it would come from of like all the mature things in the show. It's probably something like that.
Yeah, I don't. Why
Who
I don't.
knows though? I'd say like if that's something that concerns you going into the show,
You
Don't.
don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
You could
effing-
watch this with your parents, honestly. It's not that bad.
Yeah,
It is by no
I'd
means
agree.
raunchy, super violent. Maybe the fact they mentioned marijuana or like drugs, but I mean,
Oh wait, they mentioned marijuana. I forgot about that. Yeah, it should be him. It
yeah.
should be worse than him. Should be X.
I mean, I don't even. I remember like my roommates were watching like this show that was literally a sitcom about weed. I don't even think that was mature. It might have been mature. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it was like TV
Oh,
And
14.
weed?
that's
Yeah.
like on child. That's on kids Netflix.
Maybe I don't know. I don't even
It's
know what the
like
hell that
not
show's
even.
called. I was thinking
Yeah,
of
you
like
see
looking up
freaking
the
Special
photos.
Agent Oso just pulling up a blunt or something.
Or in Big Mouth. I don't know. Maybe that kid
Oh,
should.
Big Mouth, what that Big Mouth do?
The Paw Patrol. The Paw Patrol's pulling up like
Paw Patrol stops a
drug crime.
yeah a weed buyout.
Stops a drug. Oh,
Stops a drug.
exactly.
So now that we talked about, I don't know why we talked about those two things first. Actually, now that we talked about those things too, those two things first, I kind of just wanted to get into like what you guys liked and thought about the show now, essentially.
I'll start off. I'll
Nothing.
start off with this, and y'all can. Well, yours is quick. Maybe you should start.
No, that's it.
If
That's
you
all.
like.
Yeah. I started
Okay,
and
well,
now
there
I've
you go.
ended. It's your turn.
I actually like this show way more than I kind of thought I would. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a bit of a time to go through it. Because it's not the type of show I normally watch. Oh, I wonder why. But but honestly, it isn't like what I normally go for. But I went ahead and I'm like, I gotta watch it anyways, so I'm gonna just do it. And
Hello.
really, I'd
Oh,
say
okay.
the
Sorry.
one thing, yeah, sorry, I like got lost in thought there.
Okay, that's
Or
fine.
really the one thing that like got me most in this show is I think the humor is like really solid. I think that a lot of the jokes land more often than not. Even if it's like kind of cringy, sitcom kind of humor, it's still like sweet and funny. I like the jokes a lot.
Hmm.
Like, I found myself laughing a lot more than I expected to, which surprised me. I don't really laugh out like LOL at shows, but I did at this one.
So
So
you kind of found yourself lamowing at some points, yeah?
even ruffling to a point.
Okay. Hope your floor was clean. You had enough space.
It is now. I ruffled, so
Oh, okay, nice. It's good to stay clean.
By the way, why does Big Mouth get new episodes? Sorry, I'm on Netflix right now.
you're not wrong.
Hey, let's keep it to Kim's convenience. I think we've deterred far enough.
I think Big Mouth's a Canadian show too, actually.
Why do you think it's a Canadian show? Because of the animation style? That's kind of racist.
Actually, you know what? It doesn't matter. Let's just. What are your thoughts, William?
What are my thoughts? Well, before I get to my thoughts, it is an American TV show, aka
You're
Big
right. Only
Mouth.
Americans think of something so degenerate.
Apparently, Big Mouth is an American coming of age adult animated sitcom created by Family Guy writer Andrew Goldberg. Oh wow,
Okay.
that's great. What did I think of the
Great.
show? No, I definitely do agree with Matt. I feel like the jokes were good, and that a lot of times they didn't like overstay their welcome. Like you didn't have like that laugh track where you would take a moment to get the joke stuck in your head or like let it settle. I thought the humor was pretty great. I actually did laugh out loud. I lulled a couple of times at some of the jokes, which I didn't expect me or myself for that to happen. Especially since I asked my my Korean friend about this show, what he thought of it. He said it's pretty troll. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not that good, or maybe it's just kind of like just all humor. But I think the show does a good job of like balancing humor with some serious topics, and like when the show gets serious, it's not like I don't know, it's not like super super serious, but it's definitely like kind of like a tearjerker, especially if you've kind of like had those experiences yourself. and that is an aspect of the show that I was surprised by that they do pretty fucking well. Like I think they do, like at some points do really good jobs of like depicting an Asian American family, or I guess like an Asian Canadian family or whatever. Same kind of upbringing, but like yeah, like immigrant family, and then two kids, and their dynamic with parents, like especially with the brother, I feel right.
Yeah, William can definitely relate a
This
lot to the actual family of the show.
there's kind of way too many fucking parallels that have just like for parts that actually kind of got like a little heavy. I was kind of got a little watery eyed because I was like, fuck man, I kind of been there before.
Yeah, the show, honestly, when I was watching the show, it reminded me a lot of like William's family.
Yeah, because like
Like,
my family, without getting people to DDoS me, my family owns a grocery store, and my dad and mom both work at that grocery store. So it's very. I think one of the funniest things, I guess, just to mention it before, one thing I will notice, since I've been working at my parents' grocery store, I'm so fucking surprised by like how much people fucking buy at their grocery store, right? Because most people don't buy that much shit when they come into like this kind of grocery store. Maybe it's just my parents' grocery store, but we got a lot of shit. And like there are like some people, I think like what's his face, the nurse Enrique, he buys so much shit at once in like one of the episodes, and I'm just like, bro, I've never had anybody like buy that type of shit, like buy
yeah,
that
there are
much at
people
once.
literally buying like meals.
Yeah, legit. I'm
Like,
like,
usually when you go into a store like that, it's just in my assumption, right? It's like you buy a bag of chips, you buy like a drink. That's like about it. Like, there's stuff totaling to like $25 sometimes. I'm like, what?
yeah,
How's that
well,
possible?
I think the amount is less so. At least from my experience, the experience is people usually come in for one beer and they leave. That's it. A beer, $1, like what is it, like a liter of soda. That's my experience, or cigarettes. Lottery tickets, that's a very big thing at my parents' store, so we sell a lot of those. But coming from a person who's been in Janet's position, as like, someone working there, people usually buy it. I guess because they don't have like beer selling at like Kim's Convenience. People usually buy beer, cigarettes, and lottery tickets. Those are the main thing. You think it'd be like all chips and drinks, but that's actually it's not very common, at least from my experience.
Yeah, sorry, I spoke out of line there.
Yeah, you did speak out of line. I mean, it's okay. I mean, your parents own a donut shop, so I mean, of course you don't know.
Yeah,
You're
so
ignorant.
Yeah, in my experience, I'd say nothing because I don't
Yeah.
have any experience.
You experience maybe when we like find Kim's ramen shop or Maury's ramen shop. Maybe that'll be a TV show that you can.
we don't talk about we don't talk about him anymore.
Yeah, Maury's ghost.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
sorry.
If Maury is not talking to Matt, we don't talk about Maury.
Okay.
That's the rules. Anyways, I think the show really shines the best when it comes to like just the little interactions that happen, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like I pointed this out to William. Like
You did.
there's this one episode, where the dad needs like to get like his air conditioner fixed, right? And like
Oh
a
yeah.
stereotype of like Asian parents, like immigrant families, are like it's basically like they want to fix it on their own because they don't want to spend money. They think like it costs way too much to like hire someone else to do the job, which I also agree sometimes. So like he's trying to fix it on his own, and he's like kind of failing, and then like he gets the guy to try to fix it for him, and then like for some reason like the interaction is so accurate because like when you have like an Asian parent and then like a white guy, it doesn't even have to be a white guy, and like they're trying to make like small talk for some reason, right? Like the Asian guy just kind of just wants him to get it done. It's like, hey, just get it finished. I'm paying you for this. You don't have to talk to me. And for some reason, the other guy just tries to make as much small talk as he can. And I just thought like that interaction in that episode was like hilarious. So I was like,
Yeah.
holy
No,
shit, this is
I
like so
agree.
relatable. Cause like
I'm gonna be honest. I,
like
I
someone
fucking
comes to
love
the donut
Frank.
store.
I love him because he's so accurate. So like what I just see with like my own dad like interacting with like people helping out. If they're like trying to talk to him, like that small talk just doesn't fucking happen. It just doesn't work out. They'll say something and then like I'll just like give like a nudge to my dad. It's like, hey, he said this thing where he wants you to respond. He's like, oh, what? Like I have to give him because because like the dynamic like within like an immigrant like family or like parents, they're not gonna understand like all the little like social cues that we have when it comes to like English. So you kind of have to like I don't know like teach them about it, or else it's just kind of like it's gonna be like what happened in the show, where it's kind of like a dry conversation, where one person just wants the guy just to do the job, and that's why he hired the guy to do a job. But yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
yeah, it's
Like
pretty
just the
accurate.
interactions in the show are just really accurate. It's really fun to watch. There's a whole thing where like the mom goes to church and like they're like comparing each other's like sons and families
Oh
essentially,
yeah, oh
trying to one up each other.
that's
That's
it.
very relatable too.
It's so
Uh,
huge amongst like just any Asian like family. Like they're always gonna be talking about, oh hey, my son is successful doing this. What's your son doing? They're always trying to like
one
what's
up each
the
other.
yeah one up each other.
Yeah, that was really funny too. Like you'll always hear that too. One thing that I watched the whole season too, but like, and I didn't see this that much. But like one thing like I want to see the show like explore more, and they might do it. It's like for the kids specifically, right?
Hmm.
I would love for it to explore like them kind of reaching out more to their like culture, like Korean culture, for example.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
maybe it's just because of me, right? Maybe it's just me. Like for me, right? I've like always had like a curiosity of Korean culture because I've always felt like it's like a part of my identity, and I feel like a lot of
Hmm.
other Asian kids do that too. Maybe I'm wrong, but
No, I mean I
yeah,
agree. I think though, um, this is kind of like my take on it, but I think it's like partially true. Is that you kind of have like different sides of that, where there are like Asian kids who just want to like just grow up like a Canadian or like American kid and just kind of adapt that as their own culture. And obviously, like the other half is the same way, but they more strongly like inherit or embrace, their cultural roots. Kind of like between like me and my own brother, where he's way more Korean than I am, and I'm more like Americanized. I was going to say the name of my state, not going to say that, but I'm more of that than I am like culturally Korean in a lot of aspects compared to him. And I think, I mean, I don't know. I haven't finished season 2, but I think Janet is kind of like that other side where she's more of like she's embracing like how she's growing up, that kind of culture more so than like her Korean roots. I don't know what it is for the older brother. I mean, his roommate's Korean. They got like a Korean flag like hung up or something in their apartment.
he has a Korean tattoo. I mean,
He's got a Korean tattoo,
He does, and he's jacked.
and he's
and
jacked.
he's a very good looking man who's not even Korean
He's
in
not
real
even
life, but
Korean, and his
Wait, really?
he's not.
yeah,
No, you can like
yeah,
you can
Kimchi's not
immediately
even
tell.
Korean either.
Yeah, Kimchi's not Korean.
Kimchi didn't look Korean though.
Yeah,
I can see
Well,
Kimchi being Korean. He's like one of
I
those. It's one of those like one-off Koreans, I would
what
say.
what are they? What are both of them?
I know Simi Lu or Jung. He's Chinese. He's gonna
Okay.
play Shang-Chi in the new Marvel movie.
yeah, he is.
And is it not Shang-Chi?
Yeah, I think his name is Shang-Chi, but yeah.
Oh, Shang-Chi, sorry.
Shang-Chi or
And
Shang-Chi, I'm not sure. We'd have to get Henry back or, you know, Charles back to get that. But yeah, the other actor's name is Andrew Fung. He's completely not Korean, obviously.
that sounds like a Vietnamese last name.
Yeah,
I
his
don't know.
dad is Vietnamese and his mother's Chinese. So
There you go.
we got a
So
Henry on the show. He's
we got a
Henry.
Henry on the show.
Actually, he kind of is like Henry now I think about
Actually, you're right.
it. Shit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not a big issue. So I'm gonna actually go back to Matt's question that he had earlier,
What was that
where he
question?
said like he's talking about authentic Koreans
Oh
because we kind of
god.
just laughed at
Let's
him.
not
And
go back
yeah.
to that actually.
Yeah, okay,
So
let's
like
go back.
my thought on like whether or not they should have gotten like more authentic Koreans or not, quote unquote, right?
Hmm.
Mainland
I think
Koreans, I don't
Yeah,
know.
the
I
real
think
Koreans.
I
True
think the issue
Bloods.
with that for like a sitcom like this, right, is like especially for like the mom and dad, right? Because you would expect maybe those characters to be like actual like people born and raised in Korea, right?
Mostly because they're old, yeah.
But like I feel like it serves a purpose for them to be like Korean Canadians because or Korean Americans, right? Because like they have that experience of like how their parents treated them and how they felt, right? So they can portray that in their
Yeah.
acting versus like someone who's born and raised in Korea, right? Who wouldn't really understand like how a Asian American or Korean or Asian Canadian would feel, right, while
Mhm.
growing up. So I feel like that's the reason why they got actors like that, and not like people that were born and raised in Korea. That's just what I think about it, though.
I Now what I would say was I think mainly because it is like a Canadian sitcom. They know like what kind of audience they're like going for. Like if like what you said earlier, I think it would make more sense for them to obviously get like actors from Korea to portray these parents if this was like a Korean TV show. But I think at first and foremost it's really just a Canadian sitcom, which is why I felt that them having these like parents who are like born and raised in Korean Canada who don't actually have these authentic accents, like I thought it was fine because that like I felt that oh yeah their intention is they're doing this for a Canadian audience and that's why they have these actors and that's why mostly I feel the fact that these parents just
Yeah,
don't speak Korean is that oh they don't want to alienate you know a Canadian audience who's obviously going to be primarily speaking English and that a lot of the jokes
yeah,
are
season.
based in
Yeah, I will
English
say in season 2 they added a little bit more Korean, like just 1 or 2 words, which I
yeah
appreciate.
like Yobo
Yeah, yeah, like
Mm,
yobo, which means
mm.
like what you call like your wife, like
yeah like
honey.
honey yeah.
So I appreciate that. I think probably season 3 they might add more Korean. I don't know. I have no idea.
How many seasons are there? Five now? Four?
There's 4 on Netflix. I think they
And then
finished
wrapping
filming
up
season
five,
5.
right? Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's to answer your question, Matt. I know we skimmed it over
Yeah.
earlier.
You got a more Korean person answering and I guess like a fakey like me answering, so there you go, man.
Fraud.
Yeah, sorry. I
I'm not
apologize,
that
Sim.
Korean. I will say I'm actually curious because like the interviews I watch of like all the actors,
Mm-hmm.
at least the Korean ones, right? Like they don't really speak Korean because obviously they're more comfortable with English, right?
Okay.
I'm just curious about like their actual extent of Korean though, right? Because they did grow up in Canada, so because like Mia Williams Korean, like as bad as it is, right? It's like conversational, right? But
Yeah.
there's like a point made in the show where like Janet's trying to like even just talk to this waiter in Korean, but like she can't even make a coherent sentence. So like
Yeah.
I'm just curious whether or not like her real Korean's actually that bad or like it was just for the show.
I think that was just for the show.
I don't know. There's like literally no footage of her like speaking Korean online.
Yeah.
I looked it up. So
Well, yeah, it's probably different just because maybe if you're just like a much bigger actor or something, then like that question gets like that question's probably asked like a bunch, but she probably doesn't. Maybe she's not comfortable with it. I'm not
no, she
entirely
probably
sure.
doesn't like that question. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that was like a big question for like actors like Stephen Yoon, and like he attempted to speak Korean at like a conference that he did like a bunch of years ago. But I mean, he's in like a new movie called Minani, and then I think his Korean's improved like tremendously since then.
His Korean is so much better than
Yeah,
it used to be. Yeah.
which that's a movie I'm really looking forward to. But I mean, thank God it's like a lot less relatable, or maybe it won't be. I'm not sure. I mean, this movie or this series is definitely like way more relatable than I wanted it to be. But yeah,
Yeah, for you.
yeah, for me because convenience store. Uh, maybe the older son has some parallels to my own brother in not so good ways, but
Maybe a lot of ways.
yeah. Oh, he never went to jail, so I mean, at least he's got that part.
I mean, that's. I mean, yeah, but like other ways, they relate a lot. I would say.
Yeah, the whole disownment from the parents, but yeah, yeah,
You
well, that's not
know,
a topic for the podcast.
being
Yeah.
jacked, being a ladies man.
Being Jack,
Uh,
being lazy man, definitely not his characteristics. Which I mean, I'd be happy for him if he had those, but fuck. I mean,
if he's married,
I'd
I don't
love
know.
to
I
have.
don't know how you would feel about that if he's married right now.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
you're right.
that was,
I'm saying pre marriage
that's fair.
Okay,
That's
okay.
fair.
in his golden years, as people would say.
Were those his golden years?
Yeah, pre marriage at the wedding. I'd say that
Damn.
was his peak.
Damn. He's listening right now, sweating.
He's not fucking listening. Let's be
Definitely
real.
not his listening.
I know
Hey, if you're listening,
I know
if you're
your
listening,
bitch ass
Hyung,
ain't listening to this shit. I know you're playing
yo,
Warzone.
Hyung, if you're listening, send us a message. 100%. We will
Yeah.
message back. Anyways, is there any other points you guys want to talk about? I think another thing it's like Asian parents tend to be like pretty racist and pretty prideful. Like there's a whole like ongoing joke about like the dad being like he hates Japanese stuff,
Oh, that's
which
very accurate. Yeah,
is very accurate and relatable.
yeah.
Um,
Just to give background, Matt, like that whole generation of like Korean folks all fucking hate Japanese people. Or not like all Japanese, but they like hate the Japanese.
Those jokes actually kind of cracked me up.
Yeah.
that was so
that
funny.
that shit's real.
Yeah, no, I've heard that too. I feel like y'all have mentioned that to me before,
Yeah.
which is why that had me like laughing when he's trying to get the cops called on a Toyota.
Yeah, but not the
That
Hyundai.
was really fun. Yeah, yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, there's the whole other thing where like they kind of like the first episode is literally like there's like a gay pride parade going on, and like it has the interactions between like a lot of gay people and the dad, right? And those interactions are pretty funny because
I
like
thought that
he's
was
trying to
pretty
be like socially aware
Yeah.
of everything, but like he's still pretty like stereotypical. Like there's like the thing where he's like, I know if you're gay if you do this, right?
Yeah,
It's like it's pretty funny. So
I also like the one thing where there was like an episode where like a black customer came in.
yeah,
It's like-
steal or no
Yeah,
steal.
He's got brown shoes. He's not gonna steal.
Yeah, that was funny.
I don't know if this was season 1 or if this was season 2, but there was like an episode where like there were like 2 customers who wore
yeah,
what
I
are
think
they
that's season
called?
1.
Is that season 1? Like is it hijabs? What is it? The thing that
Yeah, I
covers.
think they're wearing hijabs.
Yeah,
Can you confirm that? I don't remember actually.
For what?
for
Like
season
there's
1,
2 ladies coming in with like hijabs
like covering their
or
faces.
however they're pronounced. I
Yeah.
apologize for pronouncing it wrong, but covering their faces so you can only see their eyes, right? And then the
No, I
customer's
haven't
like,
seen that. I think.
oh, well, there's like an interaction in season 2 then,
Yeah,
or like 2 ladies come in, you can only see their eyes, right? And the customer's like, how do you know they're like, how do you recognize their names? He's like, oh, like I noticed these little things about them, right? And then they're like, no, he gets it wrong half the time.
yeah, he
But
gets it wrong
he tried.
50% of the time, which is
At
funny.
least he tried.
I liked in like the gay pride episode though that like he was super accurate on like what's his face Enrique. I thought that was hilarious because I thought he was just like wrong from like the beginning part of the episode, but then like later on you get like that guy gets
Yeah,
called
that's-
out by his boyfriend or whatever. I thought that was
That's
great.
pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of other interactions that are really great in my opinion too. Like stuff about like what school your child goes to, right? Like what
Mm.
profession that they have, all that jazz, along with like the comparing and all that thing. I think the show is also pretty like meta, and like it does a good job of not only talking about like like the stereotypical like Asian, I guess, Asian family, but like also like the stuff that happens in society. I would say happens a lot.
What do you
For,
mean?
for example, like the first episode was just about um it was doing some stuff about like LGBTQ plus, right? Um there was the other one I had. I just can't think of it right now actually. But
Talking about Netflix and chill.
oh yeah, Netflix and chill, yeah, that's
That's
another
season
one.
2 though. That's season 2.
That's
episode
season 2
1.
though.
Yeah.
No, there was like other ones in season 1, but like I can't really think of them off the top of my head. But
Okay. You think it's like very like modern in terms of like what they
yeah,
talk
it's very
about.
modern.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's pretty modern.
Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, working at my parents' grocery store for like the past like 7-something months, the fucking like setting is like it's a lot closer to like my own parents' store than I thought, and I was just like, holy shit, that wall looks exactly like our wall behind
Yeah.
the register or some shit. It was just like, holy shit, they did their fucking homework for this one in terms of like the set design. I'm like, damn. I mean, we don't got like the whole, what is it, like inside the store is like their actual house, but
It's interesting.
it is very interesting. I feel like I've seen that setting before in like a different show or movie, but I can't remember like where it's like they have a store on the main floor and then like upstairs is where they live.
Big Hero 6.
Is it Big Hero 6?
That's the one I can think of, but there's probably other ones that are like that too.
Coco?
Anywho's Coco,
Yeah.
remember me?
Shout out
we
to our
have
boy
Resident-
twitch.tv/monkey overlord, where
We
you
have
can catch him
our-
singing covers and playing League
We
of
have our
Legends.
Spanish expert here. Can you say "remember me" in Spanish for us, Funky Frog 321?
Yes, can you say the phrase "remember me" in Spanish?
Recuérdame.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely magnificent.
Is there any other points that I feel like I had like another talking point, but I can't think of it?
I don't know. I thought we were gonna go into like general stuff about the show, like favorite episode, favorite character, favorite.
Oh
genre.
yeah, let's do that then. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you want to? I'll start. I guess we could start talking about the favorite character. I guess
Okay. I'll go
I like
last.
Janet. Yeah, I like Janet a lot. Not just because she's attractive. That's besides the point.
Sure.
She is pretty attractive, but I think Janet. I relate a lot to Janet. You know, albeit I don't.
You are a Janet.
Am I a Janet?
You're definitely a Janet.
I'm
No, you're
definitely
not.
not a Janet.
No, no. I'd say you're a polar opposite of Janet, but yeah.
I relate a lot to Janet. Like I don't. I worked at my parents' store before. I don't work at it as much as William. I never asked for pay, unlike Janet in the show. But like you know, if you work at your parents' store enough, then you probably should ask for pay. But
I still don't
one
have
thing that
pay.
one.
They say they've paid me, but I've never seen a single paycheck.
I say like one thing I can relate to Janet a lot is like being the youngest in the family, and yeah,
Same.
I mean being compared to like you know people not feeling like you're special, I guess, and trying like your hardest to do that.
She is similar to you, except for the fact that she has a cousin that loves her. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, that's true. None
Actually,
of my
no.
cousins love me.
No,
Oh.
you do got a younger cousin who loves you. I don't know if he remembers you or me.
Yeah, I don't think he remembers us, but
Hopefully, he doesn't turn out like Na Young. You. Yikes. Can't imagine that.
yeah, I don't understand that stereotype actually. Is that supposed to
Yeah.
be a stereotype or like?
Well, see, I was like
Because that's
looking.
not.
I was looking up on that, and people were like, "Yeah, no, that's definitely exaggerated as fuck." Especially
Yeah,
how
I
she
feel like
looks.
she's like way too fob. Like that's not even like fob. That's like
It's not even fun. That's like Comic Con
yeah, that's
level.
literally comic con. Like
Yeah,
that's like a stereotypical like Japanese person in my opinion.
yeah.
Maybe I'm saying too much about that, but
Maybe you are. Maybe that maybe Mr. Kim's influence is rubbing off on you right now.
which one?
Mr. Kim,
I've known two Mr. Kims. I've known only one Mr. Kim in my life.
the one I'm talking about in the TV show, sir.
Yeah, I like Janet a lot. She's I think it's very relatable to me. Yeah. I can't really think of how though.
Okay,
I just feel
anyway,
real.
Matt,
I
who's
just
your
feel
favorite character?
whatever. You yeah, go on,
Yeah,
Matt.
yeah. Fuck off.
I like Kimchi. He's a pretty kind of a bad dude, misguided dude, I guess. But I don't know. I think he's just funny to riff off of the brother, you know.
I'd say he's like pretty accurate, but like I don't know how like dudes are in like Canada, but he definitely reminds me of like a Bay Area like Asian dude.
100%.
Yeah, I mean he's like I don't know, Charles isn't like that, but I definitely do see some parallels of Charles in some ways. Who's featured in our thumbnail right here? That's right, that beautiful eye that's just like staring into your soul. That's Charles, ladies and gentlemen. Recurring guest, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I saw the backlash from last episode. Maybe we won't bring him back, but I mean, who knows? He might make a reappearance.
So William, who's your favorite character?
Oh wait, Matt, I thought you had more to say about Kimchi. No.
No, there's not much to say about Kimchi. I just like him. I like Dad and the mom.
Okay. What do you like about the mom?
She just feels very Asian mommy.
Mm.
Mom.
Asian mommy. Okay. Okay, baby.
Yeah,
Okay, buddy.
you know what I mean.
Do you think the dad feels very Asian daddy? You wanted some Asian daddy?
Yeah, kind of.
I think Peter could help you with that.
I'm sure you could.
But anyway, my favorite character. Actually, before I get to that, I will mention this. I don't get for like a Korean Canadian show. Like I know the screenwriter or like the guy who originally made Kim's Convenience, he's Korean. I just can't imagine like a character just named Kimchi though, because that's just like such a common like Korean food. And I don't think they even really explain why he's like. What is his actual name? Is his actual name Kimchi, or is that just something people call him? Has that ever been explained? I don't think they explained that in season 1.
Oh, we thought about this. They didn't explain it.
Yeah. So I just think it's weird because I just don't know. Like I even asked my mom. I was like, "Yo, do people call each other kimchi in Korean?" And she's like, "That's what you call like a baby dog."
Oh, his name in the show is Arnold Han.
Arnold Han? Really?
I just looked it up on Wikipedia.
Yeah. So that's one of the weird things. Is like, why the fuck is his name Kimchi? I don't get it. But I will say my favorite character is either Janet or Jung. Like Janet, I really like her just because she's very, very relatable in like what she's going through. Even just like the shenanigans she finds like in the store, like with her parents, like I relate to that so fucking hard, especially now that I'm working at this store. But like there was like an episode where I mentioned this previously, early in the episode, but like where she got upset because like she was speaking like bad Korean, and then like her friends were kind of like making her feel insecure about it, so she just kind of like exploded about it. I was like, fuck, man, that was like me, like I felt I've had that moment before, like now not so much, mostly because like I try to improve my Korean, but like I was like, I know that part was supposed to be a joke, but I was like, fuck, that kind of hurt. Just seeing that scene.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, fuck, man. I understand her anger in that moment. Like, 100%. I was just like, man, that shit's me. But I do definitely, I'd say of the two, I do like Jung a lot better. But mostly because he's kind of like what I think a lot of like Asian like dudes is like, I don't know, like their mentality and just like how they live is like very like, is like the typical image nowadays. So I felt that he was like a very real character. Like both of them felt very real, and they are definitely like the highlights to me, like in the show. Like whenever there's like episodes focusing on them too, it's like especially them too. Like I'm like those are the ones where I'm just like my eyes are glued to the screen. I'm really interested. Like what are they trying to portray? What is the take? And usually it's like super accurate or like man that's relatable. Like I like that. But yeah,
I agree. I look forward to the sessions about them.
yeah. Sessions. What?
Sections. Why
Oh,
did I say
okay.
sessions?
Yeah, I was about to say sessions. I was like, what the fuck?
I will say I want to make a quick shout out to my girl Shannon in the show. I really
She's
like her.
great.
She's really
Yeah,
funny.
she's
Her
hilarious.
interactions are so funny.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for her.
I am
So
too. Wait, fuck. They don't get together. Season 2. Fuck.
I mean, I won't spoil anything.
Yeah.
Anyways, so now we talk about our favorite characters,
Fuck you, Alejandro.
favorite episodes. Everyone, any episode or episodes that stuck out to you? I mean, I had the episode about Frank and the dad. So
Mr. Kim. Yeah. Should I start for this?
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Um, I think my favorite episode in terms of, I guess how it made me feel was definitely was it the last episode where they sang in the church?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, no. So it was that episode for the moment where they sing at the end and like this like Jung is crying because he's like, oh shit, my dad's there. It feels like we're a family again. I thought that was a really good moment, but I really loved the episode right before where his dad's in the hospital and they're just kind of like,
Spoilers.
okay, I already mentioned it was gonna be fucking spoilers, sir.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Now, before you briefly interrupt me again or like whatever, um, I thought that was a really heartwarming moment, mostly because it's just kind of like that's a very, I think, um, relatable topic for like a lot of Asian guys or Asian Americans growing up, is that usually your dad is kind of like the hard ass and really the one you don't really talk to as much as your mom. And that was like one of those moments where it felt sweet, where he was actually like talking to his dad. His dad didn't try to put up this like, stubborn, tough guy act. And because he was like on the morphine and stuff, and he was just kind of like relating back, he was being really emotional. And like seeing that like shell of his, like his facade just kind of go away in that moment, I thought it was like truly heartwarming. So that's why that episode was like really nice to me. Now on to Matt.
Favorite episode? It's it's kind of hard. I kind of like the episode with Frank and the Korean cousin because I kind of related to that a lot too, in a way,
Oh, so
where you just there are definitely people like I think everyone knows a Frank in there or like has to deal with a Frank.
oh yeah,
Having been working in the restaurant industry, people like to talk, and it can be frustrating to not, um, but really, I just thought that was very realistic. How you just want to be honest with someone, and I thought that was a good episode.
oh, I
Enjoyed a
get
lot
it.
of
Yeah,
heart.
you want to be honest and frank with them. Ah, shit,
Oh
is that why his name is Frank?
God,
Wait
dude.
a second. Hmm. Peter, do you have anything to say? What was your favorite episode? Or did you
Yeah,
already?
it's probably that episode because that episode was not only the interactions with Frank, but also like they had the interactions with her cousin from Korea, Janet's cousin from Korea.
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite episode too. I really like the episodes where like it shows Janet doing university stuff. I really like those episodes too.
Dude, I don't like
Just
her
because I'm
teacher at all.
yeah, her teacher. I don't like her teacher either.
Matt,
She's a
how
little
did you
too
feel about
progressive.
that one
in my opinion.
episode where like she didn't like discipline her kid or like just like said
That
to
was hilarious. That's such like a white person thing.
mm. Were your parents with
Yeah,
you like that or were they like
no,
more
no,
on
not
like
at all.
yeah, exactly.
My parents weren't like that with me, but they disciplined me, but they wouldn't like hit me or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But
They tell you no.
yeah, exactly. That's ridiculous to
But
not
to be
tell
fair,
your
that
kid no.
that interaction is a little too progressive. So
That's another level. There's a happy medium.
Yeah.
yeah, there's
I thought
definitely a
that was
happy medium.
hilarious because of like that's kind of like a I don't know, like a more of like a modern way of thinking. It's like, oh, I'm never gonna like discipline my kid, but then here's the consequences if you take it too far in that way.
Actually, one thing I do like about that episode specifically, that episode tackled a lot of stuff about like the interactions you saw between the parents, right?
Yeah.
It was like the parents were talking about like, oh, like that kid, like, we didn't do anything wrong. We raised our kids well, right? And like it was just really interesting seeing that conversation because I'm sure my parents have had that conversation too. Because like obviously, at least for our parents, they don't really mean ill will in the way that they've raised us or like certain like tactics that they've used, right? Or being too
Sure.
strict. So like now that we gotten older, we kind of understand more where they're coming from for all that, right?
Yeah.
But like I just thought it was really interesting because like, I was wondering, it's like, oh yeah, my parents probably had that interaction when like maybe I was rebelling or like maybe they thought they did something wrong, right?
I think
Stuff like
yeah,
that.
it was pretty accurate in that like if you have like those Asian American like those Asian immigrant parents, it's like they're very stubborn about their way and they think it's right. But then obviously, they say stuff like, "Oh yeah, I know how to raise my kid. We did it right." But then their fucking son ran out on them because of that way.
That
I
the
thought that was
one
hilarious.
episode, yeah, when he was talking with like the restaurant owner friend of his, and they were playing some game. Y'all may know what it is.
I don't know what it's called. I played that game before actually.
Have you? Well, they were playing that game, and there, yeah, that cracked me up. I thought the whole thing was that maybe was the best episode, honestly.
Oh, where like the guy was like, "Yeah, she's not on speaking terms with me anymore."
Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
like,
that
"Has
was
your
hilarious.
son talked to you?
He's like, "No.
Has your son talked to you
What
recently?"
about your
It's like,
daughter?"
no.
That was great.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
I will say I've seen all of season two. I think season two is a lot better than season one,
I'm liking it so
personally.
far. I'm on like episode
Yeah, I think
6.
season two is better than season one, but season one's pretty good. Like, I wanna say I like this show a lot. So
Okay, we're at 58 minutes in. So, do you guys have anything like last points to say? Because I do have like one last thing to say, but
all right,
do you guys
shoot.
want to?
Yeah, fire away.
I will say, coming into this, the fact that this show is only 20 minutes per episode was such, I think, like a fresh of air or like great for like me coming into it, so they didn't feel like a drag
Oh
because
yeah,
the episodes are like concise and I think they're like short and sweet. You know what I mean? They're like straight to the point, so I don't feel like I'm bored. What about
I
you
agree.
guys?
I'm glad they're not 40-minute episodes or something.
Yeah, me too. That
I
would
love me.
get
I love me some
exhausting.
Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but it's been a while since I've seen like I guess Wolverine and X-Men, but like that's long as
Yeah, it's
hell.
long.
So
Wait, Matt, what were you gonna say?
No, I agree. I think the length is like kind of perfect. I could even go for a little bit shorter
Mhm.
episodes, like cut a little bit of the fat.
Off of Mr.
I don't know
King.
how much you want to cut. It's 20 minutes.
No, I know, but there's like a few bits here and there. It could be 20 minutes, I guess.
Hmm.
I
Is it
don't
just
know.
because you watched it in one day?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, honestly.
Yo,
But
Fat
no,
Man.
I like the show a lot.
It's good to hear.
Anywho's, let's
I'm
get
glad we all
to
enjoyed this.
let's get to our ratings.
Peter, do you want to go last since this is your episode?
I will go first because
And
this is my episode.
so this is your first episode. Not only your
My
first
first episode
episode.
back.
Yeah, that's right. Your first episode back after your long hiatus, unannounced hiatus, your sudden hiatus.
How is this sudden? I informed you guys.
Yeah, so suddenly,
Out of nowhere, the
out of nowhere.
clouds parted
At
and
least it was
Peter
like
arrived.
towards like the.
All right, you cut out. Go to your rating, sir. Matt, are you still here? Am I the only one disconnected?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, I think Peter just disconnected.
Yeah, Peter is. Yeah, I was wondering what just happened there. That's okay. I'll go with
Okay.
my rating first.
All right, perfect.
All right, so rating for the show. I honestly liked it a lot, and if y'all say season 2 is like even
Okay,
better.
my computer blue screen for some reason.
Oh, geez. Well, welcome
That's not
back.
good.
Yeah, Matt's
That's
doing
not
his
good.
rating, so just go after him, okay?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, go Matt, go Matt.
No worries. Anywho, my rating, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I liked it a lot, and if it gets better from here, I'm willing to bump it to a 9. It was fun. It has good humor. It's kind of like a bit like rude or crass, I guess. Like it isn't like a kiddie show, so that's fun. So yeah, I'd say 8 out of 10. Definitely give it a watch if you're in the mood for like a comedy sitcom. And it reveals me to a part of like the world of society that I wasn't super aware of. Good stuff.
Beautifully said.
Thank
And
you.
now I'll go. My rating. I feel like this show is definitely like a 8.5 or even like a 9 out of 10 for me. I want to give it like a perfect 10 because I feel like some parts are just like a little bit exaggerated, but damn, the parts that they do get right just hit home kind of hard, and like I just enjoy the show. Like I'm watching season 2 like on my own right now because I'm just enjoying it, just loving it. But yeah, there's not really much to say. We got Shang-Chi and you know as the older brother, so I'm excited to see him in that movie. And the dad was in Star Wars: The Mandalorian season 2, so great on him. He's doing pretty well. Hopefully the other actors also do pretty well. But yeah, great show. Definitely give it a watch. And now Peter, last but not least.
Yeah. Now me. I was gonna go first, but then my computer is blue screen for some reason. I have no idea why. This computer's new. So
You should get a new computer.
that's an issue. Maybe it's because like I've just been using the computer all day, so it's just kind of overheating or something.
You should ask Hubs about
I
that,
don't-
but yeah, it might be the fan issue.
Yeah, it might be a fan issue. I don't know. Anywho's, so my thoughts on the show. So yeah, I like the show a lot. I it's been on the radar for a long time. It was my suggestion for this week, and I'm glad that this was the show that I came back to the podcast for. I give the show season 1 at least. I give it probably like 9 out of 10. I would say. The reason I'm lacking like 1 point is because I've seen season 2 and I think season 2 is better because like the stuff they're kind of commentating on and like the stereotypes they do are like a lot better in my opinion. Like season 1 does that too, but like I feel like some of them like for example like the cousin or something or like other stereotypes are just a little too over exaggerated for me. But other than that, I really enjoy the show. And as for my age like rating, now William gave me this age like rating, so it's pretty applicable to like the thing, which is it aged like Simu Liu's career. Basically, it's only going up,
Wow.
Hmm.
and the show's actually gotten better season 2. So I mean, I guess it makes sense. So the show's only, the show's only going up. It's a great show. I definitely recommend anyone give it a watch, whether or not you're Asian or not. Matt said he enjoyed it too. I'm sorry if we offended Matt in any ways in this episode because
I am very sorry as
he's
well.
not Asian, but he's the Gerald of our show, I guess.
Hey, fellas.
Don't you disrespect Matt like that. He is way more handsome than Gerald.
That's true.
The listeners. don't
Anyways,
know
any
that.
last thoughts before we end the episode here?
Well, thank you all so much for catching this episode of Age Like Wine Podcast. We're your hosts, Peter, William, and Matt, and make sure to check us out on AL_W Podcast on Twitter, as well as Age Like Wine Podcast YouTube. And yeah, we'll be uploading this episode. This will be uploaded, obviously, in the normal times. But
Who's
yeah,
gonna take my thing?
thank you so much for coming out to this week's episode.
Yes, thank
and
you.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
That's just
where we
next week
review
when we review something.
Twister.
Twister
Okay,
the board
bye.
game.